Joint-friendly training doesn't mean lighter or easier. It means still being able to do this in 10 or 20 years. And that's really the point of this video. It's not backing off.
At 67, I'm not training for this year's 1-rep max. I'm really training for capability because I want to still lift heavy 10, 15 years from now. And that means listening to my body and not ignoring certain things. You know, you don't get to be this age without a few bumps along the way, but it doesn't mean you're going easy on yourself, because smart substitution in exercise is not about giving up. It's really about retaining the capability. So today I want to cover 3 things: some shoulder and upper back issues I have to deal with, how I progress my clients through squatting, and some foot trouble I've had this year. But in every case, it's the same movement I'm giving myself, same technique, just different variation, and I keep the capability.
Now, this is my standing military press. And you can see how I lean back slightly at the top. And that's not just bad form I've neglected or haven't fixed. That's actually, I'm working around some structural stuff, because I've got mild scoliosis, a little bit of kyphosis structural in my upper back, and my ribs flare. And some of that's just how I'm built. Some of it's from surgeries and just life. But the point is, my shoulders don't move in a textbook way. That lean is really just my body finding a path to get the bar overhead without having to ask my shoulder for range it just doesn't have. So I still press, and I barbell press, but I use it more for technique work. So I keep it light and as strict as I can make it, because this one is the easiest one for me to cheat. So if I want to lift heavy, first thing I do is go to a standing single arm press, because that lets my shoulder find its own natural path instead of being locked into a bar path that doesn't really fit me or my structure. Another way I can adjust the movement is to shorten the kinetic chain. Basically, there are fewer joints involved. It makes it slightly easier. And you can do that with a seated press, but I really like this contralateral half kneeling press, because here you keep your hips open on one side, so you're still engaging your glutes and training that standing position. You can't cheat it with your hips, and there's also some anti-rotation work as well. In between my sets, I work on some mobility to help open up the shoulders. And any tendonitis problems I've had in the elbows, I've eliminated or minimized by just adjusting angles and not overdoing any one isolation exercise. Squats are a different story, because I don't really have issues with my depth or joints. But when I'm working with a client, I always remember how it felt years ago when I had trouble even holding a body weight squat. So I'll usually start somebody with a wall squat before I load them up with a barbell, because that forces the torso up while you keep your weight on the heels and the proper pattern. And when they're ready to add weight, I think the goblet squat is a perfect way to go. It's reinforcing that same nice flat back, and the front loaded weight helps keep you balanced and your torso upright, and you can hit good depth. And for a lot of guys, that's a great long-term option. Not everybody needs a barbell. If I'm not feeling I want to load my spine, I'll do a front squat. And if I really want to hit it heavy, I'll do a back squat, making sure I get my depth below parallel with every rep. The last one's running, or why I don't do too much of it anymore. At least I don't run distance anymore, because I had extensor tendonitis in my right foot for months. It's getting a lot better now, but just that running, it's repetitive, too much high impact loading, and my foot just couldn't take it. But what I have found is sprints don't bother it. Short sprints, so I just walk to recover and then sprint back to the start, do it again. If I want longer aerobic work, the kind of stuff that running used to give me, I ruck instead. So that's loaded cardio, and the impact's distributed differently, I guess, or controlled differently, but it seems to be the same training effect. It sure gets my heart rate up. I tested out a new pack on this trip, and it worked really well. There's just 15 pounds in it, and that doesn't sound like much until you start climbing. This mountain trail is probably about 6.5 kilometers or 4 miles long and climbs about 1,100 feet to the top. So that 15 pounds on that climb was plenty work.
So that's it. You've got 3 joints or movement patterns: my shoulder and the back bending on the overhead press, how I build a squat from the ground up before I load it, and a foot that seems to prefer rucking to long distance running. So joint-friendly training, it doesn't mean it's not intense. It's not the easiest way, but it's the way that you can remain capable and stay in the game consistent for the next 10, 15 years and beyond.